Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're going to continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto. Well, what happened is I had to close the pages. I'm going to open a new page now. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 32, and text 37. I think we have to start. Yeah. 32, and then we finished this 34 and 36 yesterday, so 37. Pravocham bhakti yogasya swarupam te chaturvidam kalasya chavyakta gater yo antar dhavati jantushu. Translation and purport by His Divine
Sorry, but
Grace
we
is...
don't have the page, Shilpa ji. We cannot see on the screen. We cannot see it.
Okay, great. Now, okay?
Yeah, now can. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My dear mother, I have explained to you the process of devotional service and its identity in 4 different social divisions. I've explained to you as well how eternal time is chasing living entities, although it is imperceptible to them. So, Lord Kapila Dev has been given this most important transcendental knowledge to Mother Devahuti. Now he's telling her, and because he told her for the 4 Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, all the divisions, he's told her what is the duty, and he's also told her that how under the influence of time, we don't realize it, but time is taking away our life moment by moment. We don't even come to know, how many moments we just frivolously waste away, but it's taking away our time in this body. So the process of Bhakti Yoga devotional service is the main river flowing down towards the sea of the absolute truth, and all other processes mentioned are just like tributaries. We have been reading that even if we are following the Gyan Yoga, we have to come to the path of Bhakti. And even if we are following Ashtanga Yoga, we have to come to the path of Bhakti. So the path of Bhakti is the main river. One has to come to Bhakti to get real liberation, to get real self-realization, to understand our true identity. There could be other paths. You know how there are these tributaries which feed into the river. The tiny rivulets. Tiny rivulets, they come and they meet the main river. So this is a very nice analogy which is being given. So even if you're taking Gyan Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, you have to come to Bhakti Yoga. Lord Kapila is summarizing the importance of the process of devotional service. Bhakti Yoga, as described before, is divided into 4 divisions. 3 in the material modes of nature and 1 in transcendence, which is untinged by the modes of material nature. Now, bhakti itself is transcendental. Bhakti itself is completely spiritual. But what happens is, some of us right now are still under the modes of nature. Most of us, I would say, are under the modes of nature. So the bhakti we perform is tinged by the modes of nature. But gradually, by engaging in bhakti, the modes of nature will be washed away and one will come to pure bhakti, pure devotional service. That is on the liberated platform. That is not affected by the modes of nature. That is when one is called Jivan Mukta, just engaging for the service of, of the Supreme Lord. No other consideration, has completely realized, I'm not this body, I am the soul, I'm a servant of Krishna. So all his energy is dedicated for the service of the Lord. So that is bhakti untinged by modes of nature. Devotional service mixed with the modes of material nature is a means for material existence, whereas devotional service without desires for fruitive result and without attempts for empirical philosophical research is pure transcendental devotional service. So if we perform bhakti with a desire that, okay, I'm gonna hear and chant, I'm gonna engage in devotional service, and I will get some nice karma. I'll get better facility for enjoyment. So we will get that. But that will still keep us in the material world. Or if I'm doing bhakti because I want to get liberation, that I will get that. I will get the result of it. But what is pure devotional service? Simply for the pleasure of Krishna. Let me engage. My dear Lord, let me hear and chant for your pleasure. My dear Lord, let me engage in this service for your pleasure. Let me do my duties for your pleasure. That is pure devotional service. Just having the desire to come to the point of pure devotional service is pure devotional service. Right now, we may be having a lot of material desires, but just having the desire that, oh, I wish to come to this point of pure devotional service, that is in itself pure devotional service because the desire is there. And we will come to that point. Is that okay?
Yeah, yes. So that means that sometimes when we do our chanting and hearing, some people also do the chanting out of some cause. So that is again Mishrit. But if we are asking for someone else, then also is it because we are still asking, right?
Yes. That's
Is it,
still
or
mixed pure.
that
That's
is
still
still
mixed.
mixed?
Yeah.
But
Karma
if we
Mishra Bhakti.
but if we are just doing it for the desire of Krishna that I want to please you, then it is pure devotional. It's not
That's
mixed
right.
then, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, that's pure
Hmm.
devotional service.
Okay, thank you.
Jivasya samsritir bhavir avidya karma nirmitaha yaso anga pravishan atma naveda gatim atmanaha. There are varieties of material existence for the living entity according to the work he performs in ignorance or forgetfulness of his real identity. My mother, if anyone enters into that forgetfulness, is unable to understand where his movements will end. Once one enters into the continuation of material existence, it is very difficult to get out. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes himself, or sends his bona fide representative. He leaves behind scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam so that the living entities hovering in the darkness of nations may take advantage of the instructions, the saintly persons and the spiritual masters, and thus be free. So we can see practically. We can see we have completely forgotten our true identity. We have forgotten that we are eternal spirit souls, parts and parcels of Krishna. And we completely identify ourselves with the body. So the entire world is under this spell. And we don't know under the spell of thinking we are the body, we are doing so many activities and we are creating more and more bodies for ourselves without understanding where we are going, where we are coming from. So this is the reason why it said material existence is very difficult to get out. We can practically see, how many people know actually that, oh, there is a soul, oh, I'm not the body, even to know it theoretically. Not many even know it theoretically now. But that's the point we need to come. That is what the human life is for. And that's the reason Krishna, he comes himself or sends his representatives. He's left behind the Bhagavad Gita for us, the Srimad Bhagavatam, so that we can hear. Devotional service begins by hearing. Unless the living entity receives the mercy of the saintly persons, the spiritual master or Krishna, it is not possible for him to get out of the darkness of material existence. By his own endeavor, it is not possible. So Lord Chaitanya says in Caitaniya Caritamta, Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. Brahmita, what's that? Brahmita Bhumile Kon Bhagyavan Jina, Kon Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. It is by the mercy of the devotees, mercy of Krishna, mercy of spiritual master that we can even begin to understand about transcendental life, about our true identity. If it was not for the devotees, we wouldn't know. If it was not for Srila Prabhupada, if Prabhupada wouldn't have translated these books, we wouldn't have known what's our true identity. So we can see that we need the mercy of the saintly persons. We need the mercy of the spiritual master to be able to understand the truth, to be able to get out of this material world. If we were to imagine what's my identity, then I can imagine anything. If it's just left to our imagination, we can imagine anything. But that does not make things real. If we want to understand the truth, we have to hear from the pure devotees. And we can see practically it's happening. With Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, how thousands of people are becoming devotees. And the movement is spreading so well in India. So many young people are joining the movement, the youth, young men, many are joining because they're understanding the message. Neta kala yo padi pa dishen na vinitaya karhichit na stabdaya na bhinnaya neva dharma dvajaya cha. Lord Kapila continued, this instruction is not meant for the envious, for the agnostics, or for persons who are unclean in their behavior, nor is it for the hypocrites or for persons who are proud of material possessions. So same thing, even Krishna tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna tells to Arjuna, my dear Arjuna, I'm giving you this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita because you're non-envious. That is the first thing. When our envy for God is so much, we are not able to hear the message. Oh, because the envy is so much. If the envy is too much and we are so puffed up in our desire that I am God, not somebody else is God, we won't be able to hear this message. So when the envy is not there, we can understand. At least, but now we can say, but I'm still envious. I'm still here in the material world. Yeah, but the desire is there to understand the truth. So that makes a difference. That, okay, sure, I may still be envious, but I want to get out of this envy. I want to be rid of it. I want to understand the truth. That sincerity needs to be there. So the same thing Lord Kapila Dev is telling here. We can see when Krishna comes, he says the same things. He doesn't make up any new things. Yeah? It's always the spiritual knowledge, the transcendental knowledge is the same. Na lolupa yopadishe na graharu dachetase na bhaktaya chame jatu na mad bhakta disham api. It is not to be instructed to persons who are too greedy and too attached to family life, nor to persons who are non-devotees and who are envious of the devotees and of the personality of Godhead. Persons who are always planning to do harm to other living entities are not eligible to understand Krishna consciousness and cannot enter into the realm of transcendental loving service to the Lord. Also, they are so-called disciples who become submissive to a spiritual master most artificially with an ulterior motive. They also cannot understand what Krishna consciousness or devotional service is. So again, it is a condition of the heart. Where do we stand? It's nothing artificial. It's not that um, if I'm doing a lot and so then I become a great devotee. No, it's the intention that matters. Am I sincere? Prabhupada would always say that Krishna consciousness is simple. It's easy for the simple and difficult for the complicated. So we just need to become sincere. But now it's said that it's not to be instructed to persons who are too greedy or too attached to family life. But what does the devotee do? The devotee, he is very kind. He wants everyone to take up Krishna consciousness. And that's the reason he goes out on the streets and does Harinam Sankirtan. He wants to openly give Krishna consciousness to everyone. Even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna that this message is only for the devotees. But what does the devotee do? He wants everyone to come to Krishna. Why? Because he understands Krishna's heart. He's not going against the instructions of Krishna. He understands Krishna's heart, that Krishna wants everyone to come back to him. Each and every living entity has a eternal loving relationship with Krishna. Each and every living entity. And so the devotee, he wants everyone to be reunited with Krishna at the soonest way, because he knows otherwise we are all suffering here in the material world. And only when we can connect back to Krishna can we be truly happy. So persons who, due to being initiated by another sect of religious faith, do not find devotional service as the common platform for approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, also cannot understand Krishna consciousness. We have experienced that some students come to join us, but because of being biased in some particular type of faith, they leave our camp and become lost in the wilderness. Actually, Krishna consciousness is not a sectarian religious faith. It is a teaching process for understanding the Supreme Lord and our relationship with Him. Anyone can join this movement without prejudice, but unfortunately, there are persons who feel differently. Therefore, it is better not to instruct the science of Krishna consciousness to such persons. Prabhupada would always say his intention is not to convert anyone. He said he just wants everyone to love God. If we are following the Christianity faith, he said, become a good Christian, love God. If we are following the Islamic faith, he would say, you follow what the Islamic faith is telling you and love God. That is the point we need to come to. Not this ism or that ism. Krishna consciousness, why I said it's not sectarian? Why? Because it's to do with the soul. It's nothing to do with the body. We are all living entities. We are all souls. And each of us has loving relationship with God. Each and every one of us. Not that somebody born in a particular country or in a particular faith has it and others don't. No, everyone has it. Generally, materialistic persons are after some name, fame, and material gain. So if someone takes to Krishna consciousness for these reasons, he will never be able to understand this philosophy. Such persons take to religious principles as a social decoration. They admit themselves into some cultural institution for the sake of name only, especially in this age. Such persons also cannot understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Even if one is not greedy for material possessions, but is too attached to family life, he cannot understand Krishna consciousness. Superficially, such persons are not very greedy for material possessions, but they are too attached to wife, children, and family improvement. When a person is not contaminated by the above mentioned faults, yet at the ultimate issue is not interested in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if he is a non-devotee, he also cannot understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So Krishna says, I can be known only by devotional service. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. He tells to Arjuna, I can be known only by devotional service. So if so we may desire name, fame, adoration, we may be attached to family life. We have so many material desires. But in the ultimate issue, we should have that desire that I want to reunite with God. I want to also revive my love of God. And Krishna makes all the arrangements. He makes the arrangements for us to understand Him more and more, engage more and more in devotional service. Because we are there, we want name, fame, material gain, we are attached to family. So, what do we do? What do we do? We continue hearing and chanting. At least have that desire that, yes, one day I want to be situated in my relationship with Krishna. I want to be with Krishna. And Krishna will reveal himself. He will. Is that okay?
Yes. So again, there's more stress given on bhakti, that no matter, even if we are doing it, like as you said, that even if we are doing out of some material gain, still we should always remember, like, go to Krishna, not to any other demigod or anybody, right?
Yes. Yes. Whether we are full of material desires or we have no material desires or we desire liberation, still worship Krishna. This is
Krishna.
what Bhagavatam tells us. Because ultimately, Krishna is the one who is going to bring us back. He's going to situate us in our original
True position.
position. Yeah. So no matter, we may have lot of material desires, we have so many desires, we don't even know what kind of desires we have. We still continue hearing and chanting. Continue. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll stop
Thank
here
you.
for today. Srimad
Okay.
Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur
Jai.
Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare
Jai.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.